Hi, my name is Dr. Alan Curley, and I'm here to talk to you on behalf of the Belfast Trust about how to make it easier to quit smoking this March, this month of March in 2021. So, the Belfast Trust, they have a stop smoking service that helps many different types of people quit smoking. We've got the staff of the Trust, so they can help you if you're a staff member of the Trust. If you're a maternity patient, if you're a pregnant woman or you're a partner or relation of a pregnant woman, we'll help you then. And if you're currently experiencing mental health issues, if you're a patient of any mental health services within the Belfast Trust, they can help you stop smoking also. Now, one question that I'm always asked is, Alan, how can I motivate myself? How can I drive myself to try and quit again, to quit smoking again? Especially because I've tried it so many times and I've not managed it in the past. And this is why I've called this session Driving Yourself to Quit Smoking. How do you get that drive back to go again? And not only to go again, but to go back to the Belfast Trust services, to use the services which are always adapting to get easier and better methods. So if you can drive yourself back to the service, the Belfast Trust Stop Smoking Service, drive your motivation again, then they'll have even more ways, helpful ways to help you smoking. And that's what really this presentation is about for no smoking. At the end of it, I'll teach you a little technique we use, a kind of mindfulness technique that helps you drive yourself back to a more useful mindset, a more useful level of motivation to carry yourself on in your journey to stop smoking. Because that's what it's going to be. Hopefully you'll drive yourself on this journey to quit smoking. Okay. So, what are the top 10 reasons that people are stressed? Because why this is relevant is I'm always asked, why is it people keep smoking, keep spending money on something that's ruining their health? People that don't really maybe understand or haven't smoked, why do people keep smoking? And the answer is, they often do it to try and help themselves deal with stress, the stress of daily life, stress of trying to cope with all the challenges of daily life. So I'm going to ask you the question, what do you think are the 7 main reasons of an everyday life that cause people stress? I'm going to go through these. So when you think about it, first of all, it's job pressure. People worrying about their job or issues around their job. Money worries, so financial worries. Next, the third is health issues, worrying about their health, other people's health, other children, parents. Number 4 is relationships. So relationships, maybe tension in relationship, issues in relationships. Number 5 is worrying about their family. 6 is feeling that they're getting overloaded with media information, negative information from the media. And finally is having periods where they're not sleeping great, where they're having sleep disturbances or sleep deprivation. Now, why is this relevant to this current time when we're in COVID is that normally people in the past, when they were dealing with stress, would maybe just have 1 or 2 of those things cause them stress. But COVID has meant that we're now dealing with all 7 of them. Because of COVID, people are worrying about their job now. Linked to that then is they're worrying about their finances in the future. Because of COVID, they're worrying about their own health. They've maybe been cooped up in the house for a long time now. So relationships with their family, their loved ones, children are maybe getting a little bit strained as everyone's in that little cocoon, that little environment. They've maybe not seen their family, or they're worried about their family. They're getting this constant media overload of negative information around COVID and hospitalisations and deaths and a lot of the negative stuff, not sure, a lot of mixed messages, not sure what's what. And finally, maybe because of the changing work patterns, maybe they've changed their sleeping pattern. They're staying up later, they drink more coffee, more tea, more alcohol, maybe not having to get up as early in the morning. And so all of a sudden their sleep patterns have changed and they're maybe not sleeping as well. And also the anxiety of COVID is making them maybe not sleep as well. So COVID has came about and hit as well 7 stressors at the same time. So then people say, well, Alan, is it the right time? Why should I stop smoking now when there's all this stress around COVID? But what I will say is we know that research shows that, you know, smoking increases your risk of COVID symptoms and the severity of symptoms if you do catch COVID. So I'm always saying to people now is, look, if you can beat smoking, you might be able to beat some of the risks of COVID. If you can beat the cigarettes, it might just help you beat some of the symptoms of COVID. So it is a great time this March 2021 to try and beat smoking. So next, what I want to say is, well, I talk about the drivers of your mind. You know, what are the thoughts that drive your mind? You know, when you think about it, what drives your motivation levels? What drives your stress levels? What drives your anxiety levels? What drives your confidence levels? And what we know is there's 6 main groups of thoughts, and they're important, what we call gears. They're gears of your mind because they drive your mind. And they're important because they can change how you feel. Okay? So when you think about it, you get past negative thoughts. So you can either your mind can drive you back, reverse you back into the past, in either a positive or a negative way. Negatives are things like post-traumas, PTSD, regrets, failures. So when you think of smoking, people's mind keeps telling them about their failures from the past, the times they didn't manage it. Then they start to criticise themselves. But your brain can also drive you back to past positives. So achievements you might have stopped for certain periods. You might have changed other behaviours from your past. You might have stopped. You might have lost weight in the past. You might have went back and you know, got a new job, get promotion. So you've got past positives that you can use if you can get into the right gear that will help you stop smoking. Or we can go to the present, which is parking your car. Let's get into that neutral gear, that stationary park gear. It keeps you where you are in the present, but it can either keep you on some of the negatives of the present, or you can get into the gear that takes you to the positives from the present. So again, present negatives would be thinking about all the hassles and chores, you know, oh, I've got to give up smoking, I've got to change my routines. It can be focusing on all the sacrifice. I feel I'm sacrificing, you know, I want a cigarette, I'm having to sacrifice or deprive myself. I can think of, it can keep you on all the things you don't have at the moment. I don't have this and I don't have that. Or you can go into the present positive gear. And that's the technique I'm going to show you later on, where it's, how do we do that with a technique? Well, present positive is thinking about all the things you do have that's positive in your life at the moment, that you're grateful for, that are going well. In terms of smoking, it might be focusing on the things that you love more than cigarettes. What have you got in your life that you do actually love more than cigarettes, that you love more than smoking? That if you focused on them, they might inspire you to keep not smoking. You know, it might be grandchildren, it might be children, it might be pets, it might be money. But what is it you can go into that gear and focus on the positives that are in the present, that are better than smoking, that you're more grateful for cigarettes. And then your mind can also take you into acceleration gear, drive you forward into the future. And it can either drive you forward in a negative way, so it can start telling you about all the things that could go wrong. You know, think of stop smoking, start worrying about putting on weight. What happens if I get really stressed? What happens if I don't manage to quit? And it takes you in that negative gear and you get that mindset. Or you could get into the positive, future positive gear, which is about all the things you'd love to experience now that you've stopped smoking. The money I could save, £3,000-4,000 a year. I might be able to get some of my energy levels back. If I get a carbon dioxide score, it'll increase, so I'll get less carbon dioxide in my lungs, more oxygen, more energy. I might even minimise some of the risks of COVID symptoms. I might minimise the risk of being as seriously affected with COVID. I might be able to travel again, dance again, better than I've done as a smoker. So these are the different gears, and you can see why, depending on what gear you allow your mind to go into, can really then help drive you to stop smoking and drive you, keep driving you on your journey to keep stopping. Or you can go into the wrong gear and they can drive you backwards to smoking. And that's what I want to talk about today, is how do we keep you and the positive gears that will keep you driving forward on your journey of stopping smoking and staying stopped. Because when you think about it, what we see is the negative thoughts, the negative groups here, the negative gears, what they do is they drive you into your stress state. So when you think about it, if you ever stopped smoking before and you've ended up really stressed, and part of that is because you kept thinking about all the past negatives, all the times you'd failed, you started thinking about all the things that you were having to sacrifice or deprive in the present because you weren't smoking, or you started thinking about, oh, I'm worried about putting on weight, and I'm worried that I won't manage it, and all this time and energy will have been wasted, and you got yourself stressed. And that's the stress response. But if you can change gears, if you can learn the techniques that we know of to take you to the positive gears, then they keep you in what you call a nice, relaxed, confident state. So that's focusing on all the money I'm going to have. It's focusing on all the things that I've got in my life that I love more than cigarettes, that I want to stay here for more, like the kids, the grandkids. It's going back to maybe times you've quit smoking before, and I'm saying, I managed it for 4 weeks, or 1 week, or 2 days, whatever it was. So I've done it, I've achieved this before. I just need to carry on in my journey and achieve longer this time. Because what we know is the negative gears, the negative thoughts, what they do is, if that's your physiology, if that's all your body, how your body works, your heart rate, your breathing rate, respiratory rate, that kind of stuff, what they do is, once you're in stress response, negative thoughts, if you keep focused, keep in gear, the negative gears, they're all ramped up and you get stressed. And that's probably what's happened before. You got your breathing up, your respiratory rate up, your heart rate, your blood pressure. It felt really uncomfortable. And then you took what a lot of smokers do when they get stressed. They go back the way, they reverse back to smoking. However, if you can get yourself into the gears and learn how to stay in the gears longer that are positive, the positive gears, so that's the reasons why you want to quit, all the things you'll gain in the future from quitting. It's about thinking about all the things in the present that you'd rather have or that you love more than cigarettes or smoking. It's about going back to the past and reminding yourself of things you've done that you've achieved, that you've done really well, and you can do even more if you keep going. And that positive response, what it does is it lowers your respiratory rate, lowers your heart rate, lowers your blood pressure. And that's why very quickly when people stop smoking, they gain loads of physical health benefits, not just more money or feeling that they're achieving. So if you keep driving forward in your journey, if you can get the right gears that will keep you driving forward rather than take you backwards to smoking, then these are all the physical health benefits on your blood pressure, heart rate, respiratory rate that you can get. Okay, so just to put that in analogy, so what are the gears? The 6 gears I've linked to your thoughts. They are the negative gears are what we call sad gears. They take you to a sad state. Sad means the negative gears either going back to past negatives or focusing on present negatives or future things that you see as negative. They keep you stressed, anxious, or depressed. Sad take you to stress, they take you to anxiety, or they take you to depression. Whereas the positive gears, they take you to what they call calmness. Calm stands for confidence, ambition to keep going, and motivation to know that you can do it and to keep going, moving forward, driving forward on your journey. So there's 3 sad gears and there's 3 calm gears. And today I'm going to try and show you how you can get into the calm gears. Like any good driver, good drivers know what the gears do. So that's what we've been focused on now. What do your gears do in your mind? What different gears have you got? And now that you're aware of those, how do we get you better at knowing, making decisions on knowing what gear to go into? Or if you're in the wrong gear, you're in one of the sad gears and you need to change to one of the gears that give you your confidence back, your ambition to keep going, and your motivation to keep going. Because what we do know when you think about it is the 2 main reasons that when people have tried to stop smoking in the past, that they end up going back to smoking, and you may have done it yourself, is they get stressed too much, or they get bored. They get stressed or they get bored. And that's equivalent to getting into present negative gear. They go back into that, they look at their present life and they think, I'm really stressed, I've got all this stuff, all this hassles, all this, I'm depriving, I'm sacrificing. Or they just go into, they sit down, they don't keep active, they don't have any other routines, so they sit on their chair and they just miss a cigarette and they get bored without something to do that isn't smoke. So they get into present negative gear, and that's what takes them backwards to smoking. But this is about what's going to keep you driving forwards to not smoking, to keep you stopping, to making it easier and easier. And so that's part of where the Belfast Trust comes in. They do 2 big campaigns. They work all year round, but they do 2 big campaigns that try and give you extra motivation for quitting smoking. First one is not smoking in March. We know that if you stop for about 28 days, you've got a really good chance, if you've been on that journey for 20 days, to keep going, to keep driving yourself. They also do the challenge in October, the 28-day challenge in October to stop smoking. And that's again about, if you can drive forward off cigarettes for 28 days, you can probably keep going. Just like this bus, these smokers in this bus kept going in their journey and are now smoke free. In the middle of the photograph, for instance, you can see Caroline and Fiona. So they are stop smoking specialist midwives. And what they do, you can probably see here, is they work with mothers, they work with loved ones or relatives of mothers to be also. And they can do CO scores, so you can actually see like CO scores in the mother, you can see the carbon monoxide scores in the baby. And when somebody starts to really do well and get off cigarettes, you see these scores can write down very quickly the benefits are there to the results that a non-smoker would have. So these are some amazing results that we can get quickly if we drive ourselves off. Where else can you go for help? Well, you can go to the health checks, the routine health checks at the Healthy Living Centres. You can go to your pharmacy, your GP, and ask for a carbon monoxide score and see what it's like as a smoker. And then think, right, if I drive away from this, if I can get into gears and drive away from smoking, can I change my score? And how quickly will my score go if I drive away from smoking? And there's obviously the dedicated NHS stop smoking team that basically, if you go there, it's thought that you're 4 times more likely, it's 4 times easier to quit with them. So if you want to drive yourself away from smoking and you want to drive away 4 times quicker than normal, they're the equivalent of having a supercharged sports car, and they can drive you and make it 4 times more likely you'll get further away as quickly as possible. Other things that they do to help are things like they've got apps that can help you now. So some of these apps are always there, and they can help you drive forwards. Then maybe if you've not used them in the past, that's why you drove back, you're reversing back into smoking. So things like the Flow Texting service, you download the app, you can blog about your progress, you can nominate friends to support you, you can find friends to support you, and you can get access to the Stop Smoking Services web pages and Facebook page. So these are great things for helping you drive forward. Other things that they've got is other resources and organisations and services that can help you to keep driving forward that you maybe didn't have in the past. Maybe in the past you were sitting in that car on your own, trying to get into the right gears, and you just didn't have anyone helping you to change gears and keep driving and keep motivating you to keep moving forward when you needed it. So for instance, they've got things like Be Well, who can help with health and well-being for Belfast Trust staff. For employees of the Trust, can provide good tips on keeping your weight down when you stop smoking, becoming more active so that you don't get bored or stressed. They've got Take 5, which is just simple 5 steps to kind of getting your emotional well-being back. So connecting, being active, taking notice, keeping learning, and give to others, help others. It's got Minding Your Head, which is a great mental emotional well-being, because we do know that about 1 in 4 adults do experience mental health difficulties. And so, particularly if you're stopping smoking, you might find if you're not doing it right, then you get into that gear, one of those sad gears that cause you stress, anxiety, or depression. So we've got services there to make sure they can help you get out of that gear, back into one of the calm gears. The calm is confidence, ambition to keep going, and motivation to keep going. So that's Minding Your Head, a great service there. We've got the Occupational Health staff helpline. So if you are a staff member and you've got any health issues, you can contact Occupational Health and they can give you good advice around your health and well-being. And finally, Lifeline is your 24 our 7-day-a-week counselling helpline for anyone who just needs somebody to talk to, somebody to share, and maybe somebody to help them change gears when, again, you felt you've maybe been stuck in the wrong gear for too long now, and you can feel yourself reversing back to stress, anxiety, or smoking. So these are the kind of things. So now what I want you to do is I'm going to teach you a very quick technique. This technique gets you into present positive gear. So one of the calm gears, one of the gears that will help you get your confidence, motivation and ambition back to keep going. It's based on mindfulness, because mindfulness is about getting into the present, but getting into a very positive mindset of the present. So what I want to say here is mindfulness is about, okay, you get out of the past gears, get out of the future gears, come back into the present, just sit and enjoy whatever's around you, but sit in a present gear where you're looking at things you're enjoying, that you're grateful for, that you love. So I want you thinking that just now. So if you think about your smoking, instead of get out for a cigarette, what you can do is you can go out and use this technique. So imagine now you get into the garden. So you've got a bit of stress, anxiety, you're feeling a bit low mood, get out into the garden. Imagine you're out. Imagine now you've got a lovely garden with flowers. So you can close your eyes when you do this if you want, or keep them open. It's up to you, whatever. And this is about, you would smell the flowers. And as you smell the flowers, I want you to do something which we call an anchor. An anchor is you do something physical as you try and bring in a thought, so that you're anchoring a thought to something physical that then you can control. Whenever you do the physical act, it brings the thought back. It's like a switch or an anchor that are linked, thought linked to physical action. So as you imagine being in the garden smelling the flowers, I want you to press your thumb and forefinger together like that. And as you do that, think now of just one thing that you're grateful for that you've got in your life that is really positive about yourself or your life. Something you love more than cigarettes, or someone you love more than cigarettes, or just something that you're really grateful for that you've got. Now, this technique can help deal with anxiety of COVID, because obviously at the moment, because of COVID, we're all really worrying the present. We're worrying about the future as well at the same time. And sometimes we need to just get our heads back into a gear that takes us back into what we're currently doing, but in a positive. Remind us of what we still have in our lives that's positive. The things that we do still love and that we've got. And that can help us just get away from the anxiety of COVID, as well as the anxiety of coming off cigarettes. So as you take a deep breath in, you'll bring into your focus, if you've got your eyes closed or open, that one thing that you're grateful for, that you love more than smoking or cigarettes. And then I want you, as you breathe out, imagine, either with your eyes closed or open, that you're blowing out the candle. So the breath out is like, and the reason we do that is the birthday cake with candles is a nice metaphor or image for reminding you that as you blow out the candles, it's like your birthday, because this is a special day where you do have a gift, where you do have presence in this present day, just like your birthday. So that's that kind of, so that it's easier to imagine a special day like today and the gifts that you do have, you currently have on this special day in this present. So as you take a nice deep breath in, you bring in that one thing you're grateful for or love more than cigarettes or smoking, and then as you blow out the candles, press the thumb on the other finger. So as you breathe in, bringing in that one thing you're grateful and focused for, and as you breathe out, again reminding yourself of the one thing that you love more than cigarettes or smoking, or you're really grateful for that you've got in your life. Now you've got little ways that you can bring doing physical actions to bring in positive thoughts of the present and things that you love, you care more about than cigarettes or smoking, or things you're really grateful for that can just bring you back to what you do have that's good in your life at the moment. And that's the equivalent of being able to take whatever gear you're in, whatever sad gear you're in, stopping it and changing gears and coming back into the present positive gear, things you're really positive and happy about in the present. So that was just a wee quick routine, and that's anchoring. Anchoring is the idea where you do something physical at the same time that you bring a nice pleasant thought in, and if you keep repeating them, then every time you do one, you're reminded of the other. If you press your thumb, forefinger together, you're reminded, your mindset's refocused into the gear that reminds you about what you've got in the present, which you're really positive and happy and love and are grateful for. So finally, if you think you want to drive yourself back to quitting again this March, this no smoking month of March, then the best way to get into that calm, start on your journey, is go to the Trust Hub intranet. If you're a staff member, click on the IT systems, all IT, referral forms, and then smoking cessation referral. Or if you want to make it even easier to get into that car and start driving and getting the help of others to help you to drive and get into the right gears and sit in your car as you're on the journey supporting you, then phone 0289 504 6714. Or if you prefer your email, just email stopsmoking@belfasttrust.hscni.net. So I hope this has been useful too. There's many techniques for helping people change gears. I hope it's taught you that maybe in the past when you tried to quit before, you were maybe driving in the wrong gear, or you spent too much time in the wrong gears and that's what reversed you back to smoking. But this time, contact the Belfast Trust. We can help that journey with you. We can help you support the journey. We can help you change gears to more helpful, positive gears that will keep you driving forwards to quitting in 2021. Thank you.